ask and answer this question every day. How are you? But what if someone asked you this question, was truly interested in your answer, and promised to be there for life? Well, that's exactly what our guest today, Sarah McCudden, does. When Sarah asks, how are you doing? She's not just making small talk. She's opening the door to a genuine conversation. Sarah is a mental health advocate who's not only transformed her own life by losing a whopping 40 kilograms, but is also making waves in her community. Her journey goes far beyond physical transformation. It's a testament to the power of emotional well-being and community support. I'm thrilled that you have tuned in to the Wellness Nurse podcast today, because it means that you are committed to learning all you can to improve your own health and that of those around you. I'm a registered nurse. My name is Ros Lindsey, and I am passionate about transforming your health and preventing chronic diseases where we can. My dream is that Australians will become the healthiest people in the world. Here on the Wellness Nurse podcast, you will hear stories of everyday Australians making changes to their lifestyle, as well as discussions with the professionals that help them. If you would like one-to-one support on your own health journey, please get in touch with me at roslindsey.com. In this episode, we'll dive deep into Sarah's remarkable weight loss journey and the mindset shifts that made it possible. We'll look at the connection between physical and mental health, and we'll look at also Sarah's involvement with the Gotcha for Life charity and its impact. Sarah will also provide some practical strategies for fostering meaningful conversations and building supportive networks in your group activities. And she'll give us tips for developing a holistic, sustainable approach to wellness. Whether you're on your own health journey or you're looking to support others, Sarah's story will inspire and equip you with valuable tools. Sarah McCudden, welcome to the Wellness Nurse podcast. I'm excited to explore your story and learn from your experiences.
Thank you, Ros. I'm honoured to be a guest on your podcast and share a little of my journey, for sure.
Well, thank you so much. Let's dive in. So you've lost 40 kilograms of body weight, which is extraordinary. So what was the initial catalyst for your decision to embark on your weight loss journey? And how did you transition from thinking about it to actually starting it?
Honestly, I feel that when I think about this question, I remember vividly trying to change my ways for years. It was not an overnight flick of the switch in any way. I was in the same pattern day in, day out for years. My head wanted to change every single day, but as soon as I would get home, it was the habit of going to the fridge for a drink or saying something along the lines, I've had a crap day, I need to unwind with a drink, etc. I was just in that total habit, a day-to-day rut that I maintained for so long. I had tried so many times and a number of times with success as well, with giving up alcohol and cigarettes and having a nice healthy lifestyle. There were times there I'd stop for 6 months, but then just went straight back into old ways. I now can say that I'm 2 years and 19 days sober. The same with cigarettes, is around that time as well. My whole lifestyle has changed basically, and I'll never go back to drinking again. For me, I can never have that one drink, and I'm proud to say that I've gone over 2 years now without a drink.
Yeah, that's an extraordinary story. It's no mean feat. I think initially I'm interested in your story of weight loss, but I'm getting the feeling already that there's so much more going on, because giving up alcohol is huge in itself, as is giving up smoking. What was the turning point for you that started it?
I wish there was one defining moment. There wasn't. There was definitely a lead up for sure. And then it was the day after Boxing Day a couple of years ago. That was my leading moment to stop. And then I had a streak. I went 2 days, 3 days without alcohol, and I could start saying, well, let's get to 30. Once I got to 30, I didn't want to break my streak. So yeah, there's definitely, at one point it was 1 minute at a time. It was 1 hour at a time. It was 1 day at a time. I don't think about alcohol or anything like that anymore, and I can go out to bars and dance and do silly things, just pretend that I'm drunk sometimes.
I love that. Have a good time without the alcohol for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've already highlighted something there that I would like to just pause on, and that is that, it started off an hour at a time, a day at a time, and one by one day. It wasn't looking ahead and saying, right, I see the next 2 years ahead of me and I'm not going to drink. It's right, today I'm
Yep.
not going to drink. And
100%.
and then tomorrow I've got the confidence that yesterday I did it. So I'm going to have another go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
One of my mottos is better than yesterday. So I always try and make sure that, what I'm doing a better job than yesterday.
Yeah. Incredible. But what were the initial challenges that you faced? How did you approach them?
From what I recall, the biggest challenge was my head. I always thought that people were staring at me, or I was too big for the gym, or I couldn't walk the streets because people would scream out of the car or something along those lines. I remember one stage I brought a treadmill and I walked a lot inside to lose weight, where I felt comfortable enough to walk outside early in the mornings. I'd never joined a gym ever in my life, and I saw a Facebook sponsored page come up from F45. And I clicked on the link, and the owner Dale called me straight away. I remember speaking on the phone to Dale and saying how nervous I was, but Dale was just amazing. She made me feel so comfortable and wasn't too overwhelmed. Again, there's always times though of feeling the overwhelm. I do recall one day when I was at the gym and I'd been going for a few weeks, but there was one exercise that I just couldn't do. I can't recall what exercise it was, but I could feel inside my chest was starting to, get tighter. I could feel the tears streaming down my eyes, and I didn't know, if I should be leaving the gym or going to the toilet, and I just stayed, and I stayed doing that, and I still had tears rolling down my eyes. But after that session, I just felt proud that I'd actually stayed. I completely got out of my comfort zone, and I honestly think sometimes there's another saying, the magic always happens outside of your comfort zone, and I've never looked back since that. I'm still going to have days of overwhelm, but yeah, as long as I give each day a red hot crack, I'm proud of myself.
Mm. It sounds like you really had a breakthrough that day,
Yeah.
and it takes that vulnerability really to step out of your comfort zone, to find yourself in the gym. You mentioned, you thought people were looking at you, you were too big. That is right there. That is stepping out of your comfort zone and doing it anyway. And you experienced that moment of breakthrough. I would encourage people who are listening to have a go and to step out of their comfort zone as well.
Yeah, magic happens outside of your comfort zone every single day. You just, got to take that
Yeah,
step.
it's hard stepping outside of all things that are familiar, and whether that's just going to the fridge and reaching for another drink, that's familiar. Stepping
Yes.
outside of your comfort zone is putting the kettle on and having a cup of tea
Yes.
instead. So it can be very small things when we do that. And I think each time we do it, we gain the confidence to give it a go another time or try something new as well. When we go on a weight loss journey, we're much more likely to be successful if we have the right support. Who were the key individuals or support systems that you engaged with during your transformation? How did these connections contribute to your success?
Honestly, there are so many, and there's been at all different periods as well. I call this a journey that I'm going on, and I think everybody in life is going on some sort of journey, and everyone has a unique and different journey at the same time. There's a saying that goes, sometimes it's not the familiar faces, but the strangers who step forward to help when you need it most. And in most times, there's been strangers that have just arrived and helped me in a vulnerable state. Before I joined F45, I'd lost 10 kilos by walking every day and tracking my food in a spreadsheet. And I just say that walking, I feel, is the most underrated exercise out there.
Yes.
That's like,
Yeah, it's
and
powerful.
it is, yeah. And even a walk around the block just clears the mind. I remember when I joined F45, there was one person who was just so muscly, and she was sitting, and I was so in awe of this person. I thought, there's no way known she wants to talk to me. Her name was Hugsy, or Renee. And as it turned out, she did want to talk to me, and we did so many workouts together. We became really close. We ended up going on a heap of hikes and many walks. I just learnt so much from her. She's now a bodybuilder, and I just learnt about protein, macros, and food that I'd never even knew about growing up. The trainers at F45, they were, and the owner, Dale, Dale and Tony, they just helped so much. And then I also remember doing it was called a Spartan. So it's a 10-kilometer muddy obstacle course. And I
Ooh,
think from memory, there would have been about 70 people from F45 go. That was just something completely out of my comfort zone. And we carpooled down to the Gold Coast. So there was 5 of us in a car. And the friendships that I made going down and opening up about anxiety and nervous and, others in the car that had opened up, that friendship group honestly just saved me from some of my darkest days since that time. And we pretty much went down to the Gold Coast as strangers, and we, came back as confidants and friends at the same time. So, like, I call this a journey now, as I feel that that's what life is. We have our ups and downs, and it seems every step along the way I've needed some sort of guidance, and I've found it, either be through family, friends, a work colleague, a yoga instructor, gym instructor, somebody at the gym, a workmate. There's just so many. But yeah, somebody has always been there when I've needed them.
yeah, that's fabulous. It's interesting that it wasn't a specific health professional as such. It was those in your immediate activity group, really. And Dale, you mentioned at F45, that came alongside you. Everybody has a different journey, but so long as we have somebody who's got our back, who
Yeah.
knows where we're trying to get to and can listen and just provide practical support. We all need those key people when we're trying to make a change. So if you're listening, try and identify who that is in your life. Who could it be that could come alongside you? Because you're going to need somebody if you are going to make a success of whatever health goals you're setting for yourself at the moment.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in it. It takes a village, and also you need to find your tribe. So, you'll have different tribes in different areas of where you're at on your journey, but I'm 100% big believer in finding your tribe, and there's always people out there willing to help.
Yeah, that's for sure. Were there any specific habits or mindset shifts that proved particularly effective for you?
Yeah, there was heaps. It wasn't just one. I gave something a try. I just didn't shy away. I listened to so many different podcasts, and this was really good for my mental health as well. I used to listen to an hour podcast while walking every single day. They just gave me more insights to mental well-being, and that we all struggle, and it's all relative when someone is facing issues. 100% consistency. Consistency is definitely key, and trying to form healthy habits or changes. Honestly, I could reel off so many different things. I've tried so many different unique things, and some have worked, and some I'm continuing to try to work. One of my favorite quotes from the very beginning that I still use, and sometimes you have to keep saying it a couple of different times, but it's, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So you
Yeah.
really need to make sure that, if your life is exactly like it is, then if you don't change something, it's going to stay exactly the same. So I really use that quote so much in my life. Be prepared to make change. Be prepared to get out of your comfort zone. That's where the magic happens. Don't be afraid to ask, for help. I'm still struggling sometimes with my nutrition, so I've engaged only this week in a nutritionist just to help me out with that last few kilos to lose and to tone up, etc. like that. My exercise is, I'm training 6 days a week now, and I love exercise. It's just my nutrition just needs to get that little bit improved. And I know I need help in that area. So I'm engaging a professional in that area to assist me a little bit further.
Yeah, that's terrific. You talked about consistency there. I think consistency is absolutely key. Any tips on how to be consistent when it's hard, when it's cold, when it's wet, when it's hot? There's so many things, that can come against our desire to be consistent. How do you get over those obstacles? Is that a mindset when you say, I'm just doing it?
Yeah.
What worked for you?
100% mindset. And, not every single day do I want to get out and go for a walk, or do I want to get out and go for exercise. Pickleball, on the other hand, is my favorite sport at the moment, and I will miss exercise for pickleball. But in the mornings, if it's, we don't get that cold in Queensland, but if it's 3 or 4 degrees and I need to ride down to the gym, there's a couple of different sayings. There was a Michelle Bridges saying called JFDI, which is just freaking do it. So I would just say that to myself.
Yeah.
I think Mel Robbins has got one 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 move. It depends if there's so many different things and different quotes
Mm.
out there, but you've got to find something that works for you. My mindset was just friggin' do it. So yeah,
Yeah.
get it
Yeah.
over and done with, especially first thing in the morning, because life can get busy at the same time. So I used to train at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. I get it over and done with, and I'm set for the day. And my endorphins feel great after I've trained.
Yeah.
I'm on top of the world for hours.
Yeah, so true. I think we probably have listened to a lot of podcasts that are the same of, Mel Robbins and Tony Robbins and people like that that will motivate you and help you to change your life. It's something I certainly did too when I first started losing weight. I lost 15 kilos and I walked and listened to podcasts. I also paddleboarded at that
No.
time, but podcasts, I think, are a great thing to incorporate as you exercise, if it's walking or something like that. You also mentioned if nothing changes, nothing changes. I almost completely agree with that. That's right. Things will progress similarly. But in terms of health, if nothing changes with your health, things will actually get worse. So as a registered nurse, I can speak out of that experience because if you've been advised from your GP, for instance, to make some changes to your lifestyle and you're not making those changes, your health will actually get worse over time. It is a very powerful quote. And I would encourage people to think about if things are not changing, what is that going to look like for you in 10 years' time? Are you going to continue to put on and say a kilo of weight every year? And that's where it becomes problematic. But yeah, thank you for sharing those. There's some very, very powerful quotes. And that 54321 I have used as well from Mel Robbins. It's
Yeah,
powerful. And as human beings, we just don't often feel like doing that which needs to be done.
yeah,
There's an Indian saying as well, and that's do the needful. And I like that. I can hear it with an accent, but it's 54321. Just get up and do what needs to be done.
yeah,
And I know on some days that's not very easy at all. And there are days when we also need to nurture ourselves and allow ourselves to rest. We
yeah.
listen to our body, but sometimes when it's just a matter of motivation, it's like 54321. Get moving. Yeah.
Yeah, and another tip is just go for a walk around the block. And if you find that you've still got a little bit of energy, go a little bit further. Go a little bit further. But getting out and out that front door is 9 times out of 10 you've already made the best move as it is, and you will go further. You've got
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's look at mental health. It is so connected to our physical health. In what ways did your emotional and psychological state evolve alongside your physical transformation?
I look at the gym totally different now. I do think people, when they have lost weight, feel the same. The gym now was never ever about losing weight. The gym is all about mental fitness. I just wasn't aware of this when I started this journey. I didn't realize before going how bad my self-confidence was or how scared I was on trying new things. By moving out of my comfort zone has just had so many more advantages on my mental fitness. I haven't just evolved from a weight loss journey anymore. I've evolved from a mental fitness journey. I love my life. Yeah, there are downs, but they're few and far between. For me, gratitude is huge for me as well. I look at my life and I'm just how grateful I am for every single day. It's the small things. It's just
Yeah,
the small things that, before I probably would have taken for granted. But walking out that door this morning and seeing a beautiful sunflower that is homegrown, it just made me grateful. Or taking my dog for a walk and seeing two magpies and one is feeding the other food, and I just stop and I breathe and I just relish in the moment. It just sets me
yeah,
up for an awesome day. Yeah, everything has changed from going to the gym, from losing weight, but it's not the weight loss for me now. It's just my mental fitness, my confidence to get out there, try new things. Yeah,
yeah.
everything's changed.
That's very powerful. When you go to embark on an activity for one reason and you come away 2 years later
Yeah,
with a completely different reason. Yeah. And I think that's what this health journey for everybody is about. It's like we've got to start somewhere, and we start with the thing that is going to make the most impact. the fact that you stopped alcohol, wow, that is making an incredible impact, because the effect on your sleep, the effect on your energy is, is everything. So you started with that, and it went from there. And over time, you've got different goals. You mentioned now you've engaged a nutritionist. Now you're focusing on new things, new goals for 2025. Likewise for myself, I started with weight loss as well. I had severe sleep apnea. For me now, I've addressed a number of goals, and also to reduce my blood pressure. That was a significant health goal, which I've now done. But now it's all about flexibility and strength and balance, that are going to stand me in good stead as I get older. So certainly the goals change. You've become involved in a fundraiser for a charity organisation called Gotcha for Life. What inspired you to get involved? And can you just tell us a little bit more about that organisation and who it's for?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm wearing the t-shirt at the moment, Gotcha for Life. I'm not sure if you can see that on here or on YouTube, but it's a mental fitness gym as well. So on my journey, I listened to a few different podcasts. One was with a person called Gus Worland. He's a television and media personality, mainly in Sydney on Triple M. He founded a website, or a company, or an organisation, I should say, called Gotcha for Life with his wife, Vicky. Basically, the mission is zero suicide. You're obviously, I would say, Ros, in your industry are aware of the suicide rate in Australia, which is nine suicides every single day, 7 men and 2 women. So basically, that's their mission, is zero suicide. One of their fundraisers they do is a 24-hour row, which is in September on World Suicide Prevention Day. All money raised goes back to the local community in the forms of mental fitness programs. So the reason why I started this, obviously that's the back part, was I knew about this Gotcha for Life, and I knew there's this link called Mateship, and no one is to worry alone on their website. So there was somebody at the gym that I knew who was struggling with addiction, and I was able to go for a walk with this person who really opened up to me about her struggles in the past. And I had known about this mateship program on their website, No One Worries Alone. So I went onto the website and I nominated this person to be my Gotcha for Life mate. So she didn't need to worry alone. That website now is now evolved, and it's so much more. So I do urge anybody, just to check out the mental fitness gym now, because there's so many amazing resources there. So anyway, I jumped on to Dale, the owner of F45, and reached out, asked her if we could do this 24-hour row. She was all for it, which was amazing. It's obviously such a good cause. We didn't have any issues whatsoever. We had a roster of over 100 rowers for the 24 hours. Some rode for hours, rode on this rower for hours. They stayed overnight. It was just an amazing electric atmosphere. We had tables set up and chairs set up, and just some of the people out of the 24 hours, they just managed to connect on a different level. These were people that would be training, go into a gym session, do a 45-minute session and then leave. But they actually stopped and they had they knew people's names, etc., but they didn't know anything about their lives. So they stopped and really had some deep conversations, and it just went to that very next level of connection. We raised over $7,000 on this 24-hour row. And what Gotcha for Life did was they organised a mental fitness talk. It was with a lady by the name of Bonnie Hancock, and she had just rowed or used a kayak paddle, to circumvent around Australia in a kayak. She'd come and talk to us about resilience and what it took from a mindset perspective, and just the people that came to the local community hall and what they got out of this as well was also amazing. There's just so much from that 24 hours that I can take away from it, and the lifelong connections that now people have made from it. I do urge anybody, if they can, just to have a look at the mental fitness gym, because it certainly has helped me along my fitness journey at the same time, both physically and mentally.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. You mentioned when we get involved in activities, I mean, it may not even be a sporting activity. It could be sewing or whatever it is. Sometimes we know people's names and we might know them on a very superficial level, but we don't know what's going on in their life. And unfortunately, for some, there's a lot going on in their lives. And what you do by creating these meaningful conversations is incredibly powerful and life-saving. But we would have listeners listening to this podcast that would want to help people when they're going through stuff. How can people engage? How can they start those conversations? Sometimes we're busy and we know that meaningful conversations can take time as well, or we can be anxious as to how people will respond when we ask them, really, how are you doing? Are you okay? But what would you say to those people who really want to improve those opportunities, I guess, for meaningful conversation?
There are a lot of resources out there. Obviously, Are You OK Day comes to mind, and that's a great resource and a website at the same time. From a career perspective, I've done a lot of courses. Well, work has paid for a number of different courses. There was one program that stood out to me that work had organised. It was called an I Am Here program. It was developed for workplaces born of a belief that it's okay not to feel okay, and it's absolutely okay to ask for help. And I learnt from this course to listen with compassion, no judgment. But I also learnt that I am the signpost for people and to guide them to seek assistance from GPs and other qualified people. So I think it's more so that if you're going to ask the question, and it's a very straightforward question, 9 times out of 10, you would be using, are you okay? But you need to make sure that you've actually got the time and the space to actually listen, and you don't have things going on in your world at the same time. So you need to make sure that if you're going to ask that question, you need to make sure you've got the time and the space to actually listen. Use compassion. Most of the time, we could just be a signpost for that person to seek professional help, because I'm not a professional in this area and I don't claim to be, but I will always ask the question if myself is okay to ask that question, because if I'm not in the right frame of mind to ask that question, but if I am, I will always ask, are you okay? And is there anything I can do to assist?
That's really important to qualify. But you're not a health professional, but you are a signpost.
Yes.
And for all of us, we can be that signpost. So we can, just come alongside people and say, have you spoken to your GP about it? Have you got a GP? And just be there, go through that process with them to help them get the support that they need. We don't have to be all of that support package right then and there. It's just a signpost. I love that terminology, that you've used.
So as I was preparing some notes also for this podcast yesterday, I checked my Facebook messages and I had a stranger reach out to me about a comment I had made on a sobriety page. It really resonated with them. So I don't know this person at all, but I've obviously made an impact with her that she's reached out to me through a private message to thank me for my words that I'd said. I've written something that has touched something, and she's been a little bit inspired to reach out, and hopefully she can make the change that she needs to make in her life.
That's terrific. And we should never underestimate our words, and they may only be small to somebody, and you may be the only person that day that has asked somebody how they are or just checked in with them. It's not rocket science. It's just checking in with people, how they're going. But we don't know the impact of that.
And I'll always go back to that quote that I used earlier. Sometimes it's not the familiar faces, but the strangers who step forward to help when you need it most. So always keep an open mind to strangers, because they may be that you're guiding light sometimes when you need it.
So true. So speaking of strangers, how has your different mindset when you attend the gym these days? There would be strangers there. How has knowing what you know now changed the atmosphere of that community of people in that place?
Yeah, so a little quick background from my perspective is I think it was November, near on 2 years ago, I had an operation. And I had some cysts removed, so I didn't go to the gym for 6 months, and I put on about 8 kilos. And now I decided to go to a new gym. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone that I was in. I decided to try a brand new gym. I didn't know anybody there whatsoever. Went to some classes. I've found a new tribe. I've found some new friends that we're now going on hikes. I've now organised, there's this website called the Kokoda Trail in Australia, and in Queensland I'm doing an 18-kilometre hike with people from the gym. Come 6 months ago when I joined this gym, I didn't know anybody, and now I'm starting to make connection there with people just from going to the gym and having a building block to say, how's your day been? And opening up about my life and their life. Yeah. It's like going to pickleball. I was a bit nervous about going to pickleball for the first time, and now I can't get enough of pickleball.
It
So,
has that effect on a lot of us.
it's the
Yeah.
world's fastest growing sport, and I can see why, because that's my addiction now is pickleball.
It is, yeah. So if you're listening today and you haven't tried pickleball, I'm doing a series coming up on sports that you might not have heard of that you might want to give a go, and pickleball is one of them. So be sure to like and subscribe to this channel so that you can get that series as well. Sarah, as you reflect on your journey, how has your overall approach to wellness evolved? What tips would you give to listeners about creating a holistic, sustainable approach to their own health and well-being?
Yeah, well, firstly, everyone's journey is completely different and completely unique. We are all walking a different path. So we just have to always remember that in our back of our heads, that we're all learning differently. Like I said, I'm 2 years, 19 days sober. Couldn't be prouder of that I can say out loud. I get pulled over by the policeman. I say, I'm 2 years sober. Yay.
That's
He's like,
so
oh.
great. Yeah.
And recently I gave up coffee. So 18 days ago, I thought I'd try giving up something else. So yeah, I don't
Wow.
drink coffee anymore. Now I don't know how long that will last for, because I'm not saying I miss it anymore, but every now and then you go out for a cafe, you do want a cup of coffee. But I'm going to
Mm.
go at least 30 days and see how I feel after the 30 days.
Tell
Like I
me
say,
how were the first few days
I did get that.
doing that? Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
got the headache.
yeah.
But I feel I'm sleeping. I'm now tracking my sleep through the Apple Sleep Watch, and it's interesting. I wish I'd done it pre-coffee and then after coffee to see if I'm different, any
Mm.
different. But I definitely feel I'm sleeping a lot better now after the coffee's left my system.
Yeah,
Um,
terrific.
so I said also that I'm training to be a part of that Kokoda in May. So it's an 18-kilometer hike. That is something that is completely out of my comfort zone. I just love trying new things now. I've tried reformer Pilates, hot yoga. I'm 47. I'd never done a spin class, and now I'm going to spin class every single week. So I'm still a little reluctant to give some things a go, like aerial yoga, but never say never. I might try that when I'm 50.
Wow,
um,
I've not even heard of that. That's what I love.
yeah.
There's so many activities that we don't even know about. It's so good to explore and just find something that you like. Well, I'll be interested to hear about aerial yoga
Yeah, when I'm 50. So
in a
like
few
my life
years.
is my life has done a 360 from 5 years ago with, drinking
Mm,
and smoking. I even had a soft drink of, Coca-Cola addiction, like really bad too. I was probably drinking 2 liters of Coke each day.
mm.
I try to journal and I reflect on how my day is going throughout the day. I'm not great at that, but I'm giving it a try. Sometimes I'll journal daily, sometimes I won't journal for a week or 2 weeks, but I'll go back to it just to see where I'm going and if it's helping me along my way. So I think just trying new things. I never liked drinking, I didn't like smoking, I didn't like cans of soft drink. I was totally addicted to all of those things. I'm now free to do what I want. I am on my own journey and I love life. So all I can say is find your passion and go your own way. That would be it in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's absolutely powerful. Find your passion, find something that you love to do and do
A
more of
healthy
it.
passion.
A healthy passion,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Sarah, thank you so much for sharing your inspiring journey and valuable insights with us today. Your story is a powerful reminder of the transformative potential that we all possess. And for those of that you are listening, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you found value, please please share it. The more that we can get this message out to other Australians, the better. Until next time, please take care of yourself and those around you.
Thank you, Ros. I hope to see you on the pickleball court.
Yes, I'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you.